This is the Norris Group's Real Estate Investor Radio Show, the award-winning show dedicated to thought leaders shaping the real estate industry and local experts revealing their insider tips to succeed in an ever-changing real estate market. Hosted by author, investor, and hard money lender, Bruce Norris.
The Norris Group proudly presents our 14th annual award-winning event, I Survived Real Estate. Industry experts join Bruce and Aaron Norris to discuss evolving industry trends, real estate bubbles, inflation, and opportunities emerging for real estate professionals. All proceeds from the event benefit Make-A-Wish and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Hi, thanks for joining us. My name is Bruce Norris. And once again, we are joined by David Granzella, founder of NorCal REIA, and Laurel Sagen, president of Laurel Buys Homes. David, you've gone through some cycles. How do you feel about what's next? Are you concerned about round two of a crash?
I guess, well, it's cyclical. I think one of the things I've learned being around for a while now is we make money. We're real estate investors. We make money up, down, sideways. It doesn't really matter. I think it's just a matter of having a better perspective. What quadrant are we going to be in? Where are we going to go and what's it going to look like? I think I've been fortunate enough to acquire some multifamilies where there's that income coming in, that passive income. It gives me the ability to pull the trigger and not have to make questionable decisions on a market or a project.
Yeah.
And well, it is going to change. Matter of fact, one of the things I was thinking about when we were talking earlier, I remember in 2006, I had been at your end of 2005. I'd been in Irvine to see you for the California crash. My mail carrier in early 2006 had come by. We're chatting. I know my mail carriers pretty well, and chatted. And her and her husband just bought a house in a place called Winchester up in Auburn. Well, Winchester is back then a multi-million-dollar area. And here's my mail carrier line, and I'm talking to her. And I hadn't really understood what a pick-up payment was or what a negative payment was. And she started telling me, and I just gave her a quick synopsis, but I thought to myself, I knew at that point that, oh my God, this is just failure waiting to come. So that being said, I can take that knowledge from you, from my mail carrier, from the people, to realize there's going to be a transition and what it's going to be. I don't see the downside because I'm not highly leveraged on multi-units. So I don't have to stress about, if there was payments or not, which they have been 100%. It gives me the opportunity to look, where are we going to go? How are we going to handle this? What quadrant? What are we going to use? What type of marketing we're going to do? Just like Laurel's got a hold of her marketing out there. Sometimes when I'm not getting some of her letters, I wonder if I'm not feeling love. Am I going to, by the way, because Laurel and some other people does such a great job marketing, I pulled my marketing back because in competition, percentage wise, you got to figure out how it's going to work. And there's guerrilla marketing out there. And am I going to knock on doors, or what am I going to do? I love multi-units. How am I going to get to that client and find out? But am I worried? No, I just need to find out. I just feel better if I understood better about inflation, as you and I were talking about last night at the meeting. Which direction, how do I best suit it to follow it? And how can I create solutions for myself and for other people involved? And create some housing along the way, because there's a housing shortage, especially in the apartment segment.
Yeah. Laurel, I'm really curious about your marketing methods. So I just heard mailers. Is that been the main source of what you do?
Well, for the most part, we've decided we've created a company that's a marketing company.
Okay.
So Laurel Buys Houses is owned by a different company, and it's a marketing company. So we do direct mail. I have TV commercials. We do social media. We have our website. We've spent a lot of time and money having our, not paid ads, but having our SEO be really good, and a website that informs people on more than just that. I co-authored a book for seniors about the housing market and even assisted living. We have joined lots of professional organizations for the elderly to be able to, so that I can refer people when they need assisted living or something like that. And spend more time in the community just doing marketing. I I have, as a matter of our team, decided not to do cold calling, not to do the texting, not to do some of the things that I think are not on brand for my brand of empathy, caring, and integrity. But yeah, we're on TV. We started doing that in March, and it's pretty funny. I'm sitting at the bank trying to open an HSA account, and somebody comes up to go, you're Laurel, you buy houses. I go, yes, I do. Took his hand, thanked him. The little old lady, she comes up to me and she says, are you Laurel? I go, yeah. She goes, well, your commercials work, darling. So that's what we're doing. And for us, we decided not to hire an actress or an actor. So it's this ugly mug, but I think it's most honest, and that's the way we've just decided to do it. Our card is very simple. It has a picture of our team on it. We have the same card people have been getting, like David can tell you. We've tried a few little fun things every once in a while, but we've been doing direct marketing for 5 years now. People get upset if they don't see our card sometimes. And
Interesting. Now, all right. Now,
if you see my face on the milk carton, that'll be different.
what's the trend? Okay, so I get one of your cards and I call. Who am I going to talk to?
You're going to talk to Samantha or Erin. Samantha is my leads manager. She answers the phone mostly.
Okay.
And she's I spend time training her every week to make sure that call is as informative and as easy as possible for our client. And then she'll book you an appointment with me.
Okay, so you actually meet with all the people. Okay. Now, you just said 5 years you've done mailers. What did you do prior to that?
Well, we, believe it or not, I guess we're going on 6 years now. Wow. I used to buy everything through the MLS, Bruce.
Okay.
You had real estate agents, and I just bought it the way I knew. Other, wholesalers and, buying stuff off the MLS. Realtors would bring us deals. Dan spent a lot of time going to talk to realtors, and I spent all my time doing construction. I mean, it's kind of an interesting story how we decided to do this, but that's how we knew to buy it. That's the way everybody was buying, right? And wholesalers were for newbies, right? By going directly to the seller, knocking on doors and stuff. I mean, I did that a little bit, but in the back in the day during the crash, but that's all we knew was realtors.
David, I'm going to ask you first, and then Laurel, I'd like your input. Why do you think most people don't succeed at a business that both of you have done different paths but done very well? Because a lot of people don't.
I speak for myself, but a lot of people don't. I think tenacity, purpose. I'd say you really have to have you have to be purpose driven in life, but especially this business. You have to be able to know why you're doing it. There's tenacity, there's purpose, there's drive. You've got to be consistent. You've got to have you need to create a system how you're going to build your business in real estate, whether you're going to flip. I've been fortunate enough to have people in my life like Fixer Jay, yourself, you and Aaron, John Schaub. There's a number, Jim Harris. There's a number of people out there that I've reached out to, and I still see to this day, and I still talk to this day. And I just followed up. I figured, I met Fixer Jay, and he had his old. You met Fixer Jay at my home. Live at my home in the party, and I met him. He had overalls on. He had his little straw hat and things like that. And here's a guy that I'd been following for a while, and it's like I realized here's a guy that's got his advanced degree in school and education. He's also used to work for AT&T and upper management for a long time, and he's got 250 rental doors. So I said, he's got to have something to be able to teach me if I reach out to him. And he did. I think that's, face it, I was a single parent. I had a 14-year-old son. It was sink or swim. And that was a good thing. But then the next transition came a different level, where it's like, where do I want to be? And that's when I started reaching out to Southern California. I met some people down there, including yourself, and I started going to your meetings because we didn't have that format. And I would go down there and people would share things. As a matter of fact, I would talk to people up here and they would actually I'd hear them giving other people, newbies, the wrong information. And I thought it's better to say nothing than to really mislead people. And especially back there at the courthouse steps, it was pretty ruthless. But that being said, I met a lot of people and they were giving it away. They were sharing. And I realized one day, even being new, there's more than enough for everyone in this business. Absolutely, unequivocally. And it was when I realized that it made it easier and I wasn't attached to any one deal. It wasn't a matter of sinking or swimming. But I think tenacity, follow through. I mean, I still talk to people, especially I love to see people, especially young people, get in this business and realize. I think Mike Cantu said, if you're willing to spend 10 years doing what other people won't do, you can spend the rest of life doing what you want to do. And it's the absolute truth.
You know what's really interesting? We live in a gated area and we got a notice, hey, you got to clean your roof. Okay. So, I'm in Florida. I'm sort of creating the wheel with the people I deal with because I got used to dealing with the same people for 3 decades. And all of a sudden I'm reinventing every time I need something, I've got a new one. Well, I met somebody that could be very successful in this business. And she was just really good at what she did. She was very persuasive, but very kind. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this lady she could be a great property buyer. So I told her a little bit about this business. And she had said, man, she's got generational goals. She wants her family to understand that America's the land of opportunity. She was no joke. And I thought, okay, lady, I'm going to give you some access. So I gave her access to the website so where she can start. And I gave her some things to do, including talk to Pete Fortunato, because Pete's a creative guy. I said, okay. I said, you need to understand 2 big pieces. You need to understand how to do a repair estimate and how to value houses. I think you can talk your way into a yes answer. I don't have any doubt about that. But you got to know that it's the right thing. So I said, if you talk to Pete Fortunato and go to a club meeting and offer a barter, because that's kind of what he does. He does it like trade meetings. Yes. I said, take your skill and say, I will power wash 4 roofs for you for a day of you taking 3 through 5 houses and doing repair estimates. I want to see if she wants to do that. Right. Really, this is sort of a test. So you said you wanted it. I think this is a path to do it. But I have a feeling, and that's the fun of educating. Every once in a while, you just see somebody you go, I think they want this as bad as I did. And it's fun, and then the other thing, and Laurel, I'm getting back to you. Why do you think so few people actually really succeed at something that you've done so well?
Well, I gotta say that for me, I read a Robert Kiyosaki book in the beginning.
Which one?
Retire Rich, Retire Young.
Okay.
I was running through the airport, going on another vacation because we were making all that money. My wife said, I know that what we're doing now isn't going to last, but I sure love this lifestyle. And I go, so I saw this book, Retire Rich, Retire Young. I took it, I read it on the vacation, and it said, go look at 100 houses, make 10 offers, buy 1 house. That's what I did. Wow. I came back to Sacramento. I looked at 100 houses, made 10 offers. I burned out 2 real estate agents before I found Dan, my current business partner at the time. And I promise you, for 2 years, I spent every weekend in Sacramento driving houses with floodlights, looking at things. Dan and I would write offers Saturday night, Sunday night. I'd go back to work. And that's, I guess it's just my work ethic. I promise you, I have tried to mentor people, and I've just given them homework. Read this book, do this, do that. 3 hours worth of work. And I never hear from them again.
I want to share with you, a lot of people do mentoring and we don't. Now, we decided, we were asked about it constantly, and I finally just said, okay, I set a price that I didn't think anybody would pay. I said, they have to sign up for 5 hours. I think it was $1,000 an hour. So they're committing $5,000. And I said, only 10 spaces. Literally the first day they were all taken. And I was like, oh no. And the very first person that came, what do you want to accomplish? What are the tools that you have? What do you think you're not good at? And so, okay, let's meet in a month, and here's your assignment. And then they came back, and 100% of the people did not do the first assignment 30 days later. And I was thinking, okay, I'm in the counseling business, because now I've got to figure out, why did you not do that? Because let's get to the bottom of that, because you got to go through this step before we get to the next one, like go see 100 houses. Well, I didn't, and they go, okay, well, the next assignment is the same one. And you got to get through this stuff, and you got to be willing to do the uncomfortable. That was, everybody's had their beginning, but when I started, I didn't know anything about real estate. I'm on the phone talking to people, and it was, if I'd have been uncomfortable with that type of thing where I didn't know, but I had learned a long time ago that it was okay not to know, and I never pretended I did. And that when I called 100 people a day for that first month, I had so many good conversations that I gained a little knowledge here and there, because I didn't fake anything. If I didn't know, I said, I don't know what you just said. What does that mean? Well, now the next call, if that didn't happen, in other words, it built. And after 30 days, you talk to a lot of people, you kind of start recognizing, and you just, I don't know, it was crazy time, because how many people buy 10 houses in their first month of the business? But it was funny, because I'm sitting with all the people that had the experience with the same MLS. So Laurel, just like you said, I bought all of them out of the MLS, and some of the offers were 60 cents on what was listed, and I got yes answers. I was too stupid to know it was usually not possible. And
I would always freak out when I got one, because I thought, oh, I must have made a mistake. It can't be this easy. And you know what? I've hired people to try to help me buy houses, right?
Yeah.
And now I don't expect them to be at my level. I mean, I've been doing this 20 years, but they get frustrated really too quickly, I think. They got no tolerance for no.
Yeah.
And, in this business, I'm one of the best house buyers statistically we belong to a group of house buyers across the country. And I know my statistics are like stupid good, but that's because I've listened to the no so many times, right? So, and I'm not afraid to tell somebody no, right? That is just critical, I think, for doing the work and being a student. Also, you got to set this thing up like it's a real business, not like a hobby. For goodness sakes, you have to make money on things. I see people buy houses like, well, I think it might work. I'm like, are you insane?
Yeah, that's a bad habit. Craig Hill got a call one time, and to Craig's credit, we could make safe loans on properties that we know people are going to get wiped out on. They just have to have more money in it. But he's always looking at, tell me how this is going to work out for you. You got a $400,000 house, you're buying it for $380,000, it needs $50,000 worth of work. How's that going to work out? It's just like, so this is actually an honest conversation. The broker calls in and talks to Craig. He says, we're just practicing on this one. And I said, and then Craig said, oh, so on this practice one, you're not taking a commission? Yeah, right. So you're right. People have to understand that they bring value. That's what I like about basically what you're doing is you're a counselor to the people that don't know how to get out of what they've got. Or the situation that's overwhelming them that doesn't overwhelm you. That's the type of thing where you just go, okay. And it's repetitive. That's the thing too, Laurel, when you'll have this conversation, and within 5 seconds, you kind of know the ending point, where we're going, and you're going to help somebody make the right decision. Even if it doesn't profit you today, you're going to direct traffic to the right place.
Exactly. And you know what? I've been in business long enough to know that those people will refer people to me.
Absolutely.
I can help.
Yep.
Bruce, can I ask a question?
Always good. Hey, Joey.
Bruce, can I ask a question? One to David and one to Laurel.
Sure.
Yeah. So, what I do here is I'm investor relations. So I get to talk to a lot of the investors, what they're doing. They're always asking me like, hey, what's Bruce think? What's Aaron doing? So my question to David is, what's the mood of the people attending your meetings now? Since you're, everybody's coming to you for that same question, like what's next? What do you think about the market? All that kind of stuff. What's the general mood of the attending folks of NorCal REIA?
It's interesting you bring that question up. I noticed the past month or couple months, people are coming out of the woodwork, say, "Hey, I'm one of your attendees," and you're like, "Who?" "Yeah, I was there like 2-3 years ago, and I sat in the back." It's like, okay. It's like, so people are seeing I feel people are seeing a transition in the marketplace, and they're coming forward. I think a lot of the regular members, the regular attendees from the club have kind of, as we talk about, we educate people every month. Where are we going? They see there's going to be a transition in the market, and they want to know what to do about it, how to be prepared, whether they're long-term holders for rentals, whether they're flippers and want to be more precautious, because that's one of the things we teach at the club. Make calculated decisions. We've been through this, last time holding the bag in 2006 and 2007, you did not want to be holding the bag. And I think right about now is the same thing. It has a similar look where you have to be precautious and know what your exit strategies are. So I think a lot of people are at the club coming to find out what is happening. I read about, I hear about it. It's like, not everything on the internet or the TV is true, guys. So be careful here. We have a wonderful appraiser named Ryan Lundquist, and he's got a great blog. I highly recommend Ryan Lundquist. Google him. He's got a fabulous blog out there. Ton of information, especially for Sacramento. But we're kind of heading right now into a normal market. But at the same time, my perspective is we've been overheated, and that's oftentimes what's happened in the past. Instead of going to a normal market, we kind of go to a downturn. So that being said, I think people see here, and people are tired. People who have sitting on the sidelines. I think a lot of people sit on the sidelines when it goes up, goes down, trying to figure when to get in. You get in whenever you're there. You just have to make different decisions on what you're doing once you get in. Can you still make money off flips? Can you still make money off of rentals? Absolutely. You just got to know how to make a calculated decision whether you're going to flip it and or whether you're going to keep it. Because if the numbers make sense, the numbers make sense. If it pencils out, it pencils out. So I think a lot of people are coming into the club to find out where we're going, and they have been there. And a lot of people are showing up again. They show up. It's interesting because they show up during transitions, and a lot of them don't stay. Whether the people that I try to mentor and give them homework to do, and they come back maybe once, probably not twice, rarely a third time. I've got this done, and you're trying to educate them, but you have to do, as Bruce was saying, you actually have to do something. So I think hopefully the people that are coming back or showing up, newbies are showing up, will actually take action. I always say from every meeting, just learn one nugget and implement it, as I still do to this day.
Have you felt any pressure to bring value because the things changed? Everybody loves being in a room with people, networking. Has there been any pressure on club owners to find continuous value month after month through this pandemic?
Yes, but at the same time, what's one of the things I miss being live. I miss eyeball to eyeball. I truly, I still have pictures with Bruce and Aaron in the back of the room when they show up. And, I love that. That's part of the connection, which I adhere to and really am fond of. But reality is it's not happening right now. So I don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's just not going to be happening. Sacramento, as like Los Angeles, is still relatively closed down. So I want to work with what we have. One of the things I realized, it was our format, is I always have to bring something. If you guys, if my club members are giving me their time, I always have to have value. So one of the things I've been really careful about that from day one. Right now we're doing it on Zoom, and we're doing it at no charge. Some of our annual members continue to support us. We've got affiliates to keep because you know how it is. There's all these, we still have to pay all these payments, whether you're doing the hotel or not, to keep the Zoom going, all the marketing going. So that helps keep the club going. But I want content. I also want people to realize you give them something so they can actually make a decision and do something. I still, like after Bruce's meeting last night, I still take all these notes, and every meeting from the same person. If I hear Peter Fortunato for the same thing for the fourth time, I still get another nugget. So I want to make sure that every month we're giving that to the club. Matter of fact, I'll reach out to Bruce and you. I want to see if I can get a hold of Harry Dent. He said he wanted to get to the everyday man. We're the everyday man and woman. And that being said, that's really important. So content from myself is still just as important as it is on Zoom as it was live, because that's my purpose. If you guys, somebody's giving me their time, I want to value that and give them content, and so something they can use. And you guys have been great supporting us too all these years.
No, thank you. Laurel, my question for you, since you came from the tech world, and there's all, a couple of years ago, there was all this talk about iBuyers taking over and everything. But now that the talks have been shifting to, Wall Street money coming in, have to spend money and buying just rentals and just tracts of rentals. How has the end buyer changed for you, or are you still selling it to people who are, buying their forever home?
Well, for us, the iBuyers are coming in, they're really aggressive, and I don't understand how they make money, right? But they're only doing simple rehabs. So for us, where there's still a lot of distress in the property or in the family, we can help a lot, right? We're only selling to either to an investor who's going to sell to an end buyer, or as a rental, or to the end buyers themselves. A few properties go to the iBuyers, and they're, to tell you the truth, I don't understand their profit model. They'll buy property at the top of the market, do a really terrible rehab, and throw it back on for 10,000 more. I don't understand how they make money doing that. But for us, it's not the iBuyers themselves. There's other people doing very strange things, kind of a cross between being real estate agents and being cash buyers, right? There's a couple of companies that are doing some of that stuff, which is, they're bringing in investors to buy the properties, but they're also being real estate agents. So I don't, that's happening a little bit with some of the very distressed properties, but pretty much we're buying whatever we want to buy, to tell you the truth. The iBuyers are like making it almost impossible for our marketing to get through sometimes, because they are spending so much money on marketing. I mean, billboards and TV commercials and mailings. I own 2 rentals. You wouldn't believe how many mailings I get from some of these companies. But in the iBuyers, if it works for somebody, I think they're hurting the realtors more than me, to tell you the truth, because those are more retail kind of properties. So
that's interesting. Thank you, Bruce.
Okay. Couple more minutes. I was just curious, who is Laurel, first you, and then David? Who's your favorite real estate educator? The person that's made the most impact. And I'm certainly not trying to get my name here. I'm really not. So who did the most for you?
Well, I can tell you, in the beginning, Robert Kiyosaki made it easy because it was pretty easy to get to. But I have to admit, the local people here, bringing the education together. I mean, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on real estate. Okay. Probably one of the most impactful times was when Pete Fortunato was talking at the club, for a club that's no longer really around. We had a dinner at our house, at Dan's house, for Pete, and sat him down. So, we put on this lavish dinner and brought a lot of people over, kind of what David does now, and really spent time one-on-one with Pete. And that was insane. Dykes was awesome. Learned a lot, and I can't wait for a market where I can be that creative to really get those 2 guys. But I have to admit, Reggie Law, for a mentor, he mentored Dan and I, local guy, now retired out, day in, day out, how to do the work of being a real estate investor, available to answer questions, mentored us in a great way. It's kind of how come I am always willing to speak or talk about anything when David calls or any of the other clubs, because Reggie was so generous with teaching us the day in, day out, how to analyze this deal, that kind of thing. I mean, yes, I've learned a lot from a lot of the other guys that we all talk about. Jim Rohn, mindset, up the yin yang. I listened to his stuff today. I'm so sad he's gone. But Reggie Lau for day in, day out work. You know, I just gotta credit
That's
mine
cool.
and Dan's success to Reggie.
Very cool. He was at a boot camp at the Norris Group, and at the time he was working for the city. And the
Yes.
boot camp,
In Oakland, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And one of the fun days for me as a speaker, there was a gentleman. There were 3 people came up. Reggie was one of them. He said, "Because of you, I just quit my job," and that was pretty cool. Someone else came up and said his wife quit her job because he was doing well. And then there was an older guy, and he came up and he said, "I just want you to know, because of you, I'm rich." And that was, so Reggie, that's so nice that he passed that on to other people, because that's life-changing stuff. It really is. That's I'm glad that he did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he even gave us, he lent us money and gave us lots of advice in the beginning of us before, we knew better. So,
Well, Pete Fortunato, every time I talk with him, I feel like I gotta take notes. It's like, what did you just say? He's so creative. It's like, oh my.
wow, you can do that? Or say, you can do that?
David, what about yourself?
I was just writing some things down on the people that I've consistently followed. And, actually, you're at the top of the list. I followed you for all this. I mean, that seriously, it's your education, and you put it in books. So a man like me can go back and forth to it and continue to implement it. I still have the Millionaire Maker. So I say, Bruce Norris, Fixer J, John Shaw, Peter Fortunato, Dykes Botiford, Sean O'Toole from Property Radar. These gentlemen have always all been instrumental in my success, and continue to stay in touch with all of them.
Yeah,
And-
what was interesting, when I went to my first real estate real estate club meeting, after many years of being in the business, because I looked at the whole education space as nonsense, honestly. So, I paid for education on the street by like building a house on a lot I didn't own, stuff like that, which is a real bummer when you find that out.
Yes.
But
Expensive lesson, yeah.
that was pretty crazy. But I finally learned from Jack Fullerton, he introduced me to that group of, Pete Fortunato and Dykes Botiford and all that group. And then you realize, wow, there's some honest trainers out there, man, and they know their stuff. Jim Rohn for me, and although it wasn't real estate, he just cranked me up for some reason, and he still can. So that when you said, Laurel, he's still here, it's crazy. I can go. I discovered YouTube about 2 years ago, and I thought, I wonder if I can actually watch Jim Rohn do a presentation. Not only could I do that, I could watch the presentation in 1981 that I first heard him. What? That was so unbelievable.
Really? I haven't tried. I have his discs. I have like boxes of his
Me
discs
too. But you can watch the live thing way back.
on YouTube.
Yep.
And
And then
if anybody wants to be a real estate investor, that's where you should start,
Right.
with Jim Rohn.
Also, you know what? Another
It's
gentleman that was
about
really
mindset.
yeah, it's about. I agree with that. It helped me a lot. Still does.
Jack Miller was also instrumental. He's go to Reno and so forth. Jack Miller was an amazing educator and very successful. He's passed since, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Matter of fact,
I think Mike Cantu is probably, that's his favorite mentor. They've just, and that's one of the reasons we created the Roney Award. I mean, obviously that's in honor of Jim Rohn, but man, these guys that spend their life training other people have changed so many lives, and it's just it's fun to get to honor them. And by the way, David, at the dinner, that's why we gave the Roney Award to Fixer J. I got to spend 2 hours with him. I said, this guy is worth giving this award to. That's pretty cool.
when you guys were at my house during that party, we had to peel you guys apart.
Oh yeah, yeah,
you guys
definitely.
yeah, I laugh
Nobody
because
else
few
could
people
talk.
want to talk to you, and so it's perfect. But that's one of the many gifts of this business. It's a people business, not only people business from us buying and selling houses, but it's a people business from us as investors for the camaraderie and the help that we give to each other.
Well, credit to you, David, because as a speaker, you always want to go to a club where the main emphasis isn't taking other people's money.
Absolutely.
You know, it just drives you crazy. I'll tell just a quick story. I just got into I spoke at Jack Fullerton's club for the first time anywhere. And in the audience was somebody that worked for A.D. Kessler. So A.D. Kessler calls me the next day. He says, sounds like you really know what you're doing. Would you write for our magazine? Oh, okay. Wow, that's crazy. So I'm introduced to the world of training, and all of a sudden I'm writing for a magazine. I get invited to speak to another club. Now I think it's like Jack Fullerton, because Jack Fullerton's all about education.
Right.
Well, I go there and the guy isn't even there. The guy that owns the club isn't even there. So it's about 5 minutes after starting time. And I just stood up and I said, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to start teaching. When he shows up, he shows up. So I just taught my stuff. When he came, the demeanor of the room changed so bad because this guy had stolen these people's money. And I told A.D. Kessler about the experience. He said, Bruce, he says, don't you dare go speak to another club until you ask me if it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So it's important, you know, because you get a reputation for doing the right thing and people talk, you know, that's the thing. Hey, go to this club and they treat you right and they give you a lot of opportunity to learn. So, well, thank you guys for joining us. That's been a lot of fun. And thanks
Pleasure.
for supporting all the things that we've done over the years. It's a fun goal to have raised more than $1 million to help other people, and that's a fun thing.
And November 5th is our next I Survived. And by the way, your quarterly newsletters on the VIP service are amazing. It does fill that gap as you were talking about the live events. It really helps fill that gap. So thank you, Joey, for coordinating that.
All right, you guys have a great afternoon.
Be safe. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
See isurvivedrealestate.com for event details, information on all our generous sponsors, and to connect with our speakers.
For more information on hard money loans and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For information on passive investing with trust deeds, visit tngtrustdeeds.com.
The Norris Group originates and services loans in California and Florida under California DRE License 012-19911, Florida Mortgage Lender License 1577, and NMLS License 1623669. For more information on hard money lending, go to thenorrisgroup.com and click the Hard Money tab.